Hi, it's a beautiful day out. I would be doing this outside, except it's incredibly windy. So it would disrupt the microphone and make things that I say a little bit inaudible. So I wanted to, as always, do what I'm asked to do. And that is to speak to you about a few things that are, I think, possibly the most important things. And the reason why I say, many things that I speak of, I will always say that they are important because they are. But when you're speaking about the core of what you are receiving in the Father, the most important thing to remember is who you are, who you truly are. And with that, Christ, when he was speaking, one of the most prominent of scriptures are his Beatitudes. And I'm going to read those for you. But please keep in mind that the things that he is saying apply to you that are listening. They apply to you, and you need to assimilate those to you. You need to understand precisely who it is that he's speaking of. Because he's not speaking of different people. He's speaking of the same character. He is outlining the character of who you are in the Father's eyes. Because how this world sees you is not how the Father sees you. And that's precisely why it says, if it is exalted among men, then I despise it. Because the exaltation of men in this world, knowing that it is corrupt from the start, is going to be corrupt. So anything that man says is great probably isn't so favorable in God's eyes. And this is what I speak of when I speak of the church and where it's at right now, that it's not being persecuted. You know, they can manufacture their persecutions, but in reality, the church is very much in cooperation with all of the powers and the rulers of the world, the church by and large. Now, that doesn't mean every single church, because I have come across some people that are speaking these truths, but these are very small churches. These are certainly not mega churches, because the things that I'm speaking doesn't help supply the money to pay the bill for a massive building and to put fuel in your corporate jet. So let me read these things to you, because these are important to understand that they are you. The Sermon on the Mount, which is, like I said, the most important of the words that Christ spoke. Seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain and he sat down, and his disciples came to him. And he opened his mouth and he taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for theirs shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Let me say that one more time. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before me. Now I want to highlight something for you, that Christ himself tells you that when you accept these attributes, the attributes of the Father, and when you understand them, and you understand who the Spirit of Christ is and what Christ is, it isn't a single man. Because how can a single man all be sons of God. How can that single man be the only son of God? And if he is a son of God, and the Son of God is spirit, how can you kill the Son of God? You can't. You cannot kill the Son of God. Because the Son of God, although might be one, he is all. And that is what you're seeing taking place today. You are seeing the Son of God, the return of the Son of Man being manifested within the children of God. So these are really important for you to hear, because the meek, who are the meek? And who are those peacemakers? Those peacemakers aren't ones that are killing everybody else and calling it God's work. For he also says that those will kill you and think they're doing the work of God, just like the settlers here. And when Columbus came and discovered the Indians, and they slaughtered them in masses, and they did it in the name of their God, under the banner and the flag of the church. And this happens throughout history at staggering numbers. And so this awakening that has taken place, this awakening that is happening in you right now, these attributes, and this is from Matthew 5, so you can go and read them for yourselves, and I urge you to do so. Read them over and over, because when it speaks of the poor in spirit, because this world, as I spoke of in my previous video, has spit you out because you're a threat to the enemy. And so you're poor in spirit, but you're rich in wealth of the kingdom. And that is what all of these speak of. And that when you speak these things, those others that have comforted themselves in the false doctrines by the false prophets that are in churches all over the world, now those are very problematic. But that doesn't mean you despise them. Because see, the enemy wants the division. He likes the division. This is his cause. That's what he does. Because this is a refinement process. And you're being refined by the Spirit of God right now as we speak. And in this refinement, you need to know these words, because these are the foundation of what you will stand on. Every single time something comes against you, you'll be able to point to these Beatitudes and understand that that's who you are, because you are a son of God. And when you have accepted the Spirit of Christ, which returned in multitudes of ways. Let's not forget that in scriptures, when Mary came to the tomb after the death of Jesus, and Jesus was speaking to her, the Christ was speaking to her, she didn't recognize him. She thought it was the gardener. Now, why wouldn't she recognize him? And then when the disciples were on the boat and there was a man on the shore, and he had made a fire and he was making some fish, and he began to speak to them, and it wasn't until he spoke that they recognized who it was. Because see, they weren't recognizing a man. They were recognizing the Spirit of God in that man that is speaking the exact same truths. Just like many of you have said to me that the things that I speak feel like they're written on you, because they are. The truth is already inside of you. All you're doing is waking this up. All you're doing is opening your eyes because they were blind. And in this process, from opening your eyes because they were blind, once you have seen, now you are no longer dead because you were born into death. And so you are being raised from that death. He that has ears, let him hear. I love you all, and I hope to bring you some more messages very soon.